You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
On today's Mindset and Motivation Monday, I want to go deep on today's topic. I really want to talk about why some people seem to be in a spot right now in their life where they're happier, they're healthier, and they're looking forward to the future. And I believe that they're doing something very different, like very specific, that puts them in maybe that 1% category that all of us have inside of ourselves, but we don't always have the means, we don't always have the attitude, we don't always have what's called the mental fortitude to actually move forward with. But I believe you'll see that each one of these individuals started somewhere, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Because I don't want you jumping from point A to point D. And I don't want you trying to even think about step F. We need to start in the beginning, and we need to see how that plays out. Because right now, I know what a lot of people are thinking right now. They're suffering. They have health issues. They might be overweight. They might have high blood pressure. They might have an autoimmune disease. They might have a thyroid issue. They might not like their job, their relationship, wherever they're at right now in their life. It's not a happy place. And I totally understand that. And I honestly believe that most people have been there at some point in their life or another. And I also think that most people kind of flow into that, I call it the ebb and flow of life, right? We all get in those low points. We all do, no doubt about it. But the more successful people, meaning like forget about finances, forget about health, any of that, the happy quotient, the most successful people who are enjoying life right now, they pull out of that a little faster. And there's a specific reason for that too. And we'll get to that. We'll talk about that as well. But I'll tell you this right now, that if you're suffering and you're looking around you right now and you're saying, well, everyone I know is in the same position. Everyone I know isn't that healthy. Everyone I know is going to doctor's appointments. Everyone I know, or at least in my family, has these genetic health issues. Everyone I know is destined to have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, thyroid issues, psoriasis, eczema, whatever it might be. Right? And then you're saying to yourself, well, I'm so busy right now that even if I knew a way to get out of this, I can't simply do it. I just don't have the time to get healthy, to lose the weight, to exercise, whatever it might be. And those are all the thoughts that each one of us has. Like, they're not unique to you. Each one of us says, I can't take on any more than I currently have right now. How could I? I'm already working full time. I might have 2 jobs. I might have kids. I have a relationship. I'm trying to do all these things with my life. And I also have to try to change my health or my weight or, how happy I am or my job, my career, whatever it might be. And that can add up. It absolutely can. But I can assure you right now that every single person as well is pretty much in your boat. Like, that's the interesting thing. We're all time strapped. We're all super busy. We all have relationships to deal with. We all have family issues to deal with, all of those things. But I can assure you that it's actually a little easier than you think in order to reach your goals. And the reason is this, is that you don't need to achieve them tomorrow. That's where we really get mixed up, is we look too far ahead. We say, well, if I'm not going to be better tomorrow, if I'm not going to lose the weight by next week, then forget about it. But the problem is, not only is that not the way to never achieve your goal specifically, but it's also the way to actually start moving backwards. Because we know in life that we can't remain neutral. It's simply impossible. We can't stay static in life. We have to either be moving forward or we gradually start to slide backward. So what I can tell you right now is that the successful people that I've seen in my practice and when I wasn't doing well, when I was in that dark period of my life, when I was sick myself, when just things weren't going well in general, I didn't like my job, I didn't like any of these things, I started to look for patterns. So that's what I did. I started to look at, well, these people seem happy. Kind of like happiness was what I was shooting for. I think most of us shoot for happiness, right? It's like, well, if we get healthy, if we lose the weight, if we get the job, if we get the relationship, what does that lead to? Well, it leads to happiness. Now, that's a show for another day, but that's really really what we're after, because the money doesn't really mean anything if there's no happiness. The job, the position, that doesn't really mean anything if it doesn't make us more happy. The relationship, same thing. So all of it leads to that one thing. Well, what I did was I looked at people and I said, what are these people doing? Like, what gets them going? Why are they happy? Well, they had their health, right? They were in a pretty good relationship, or at least they were happy with where they were with whatever relationship they were in. And I also saw this, is that they were just continually moving forward. They always seemed to have, like, they had a pile of goals. They just had they had a lot of goals in their life. And it was really interesting because I said, well, these people should be super overwhelmed because they have more goals than me. They have more goals than the average person. And I'm already overwhelmed and I only have one goal. I just want to get well. I just want to get healthy. I don't want to be tired all the time. I didn't want to be sick all the time. I don't want to get pneumonia every single winter. Like, I'd rather not have that. I'm supposed to be a young, in shape guy and I get pneumonia every winter. That doesn't make any sense to me. So what I saw was this, is that they're always playing the game, that they are always moving forward, that they're setting goals, but they're not getting overwhelmed by them because they don't have a deadline, an unrealistic deadline that they need to get well next week, that they don't need to lose the weight by next week. What they need to do is, because they're almost like business approach in this mindset, is that they want to see progress. That's it. So they want to see the scale move down 0.5 pound a week, because even though that might be slow progress, 0.5 pound a week is 2 pounds per month. And in the course of the year, it's 25 pounds. And in 2 years, it's 50 pounds. And in 3 years, it's 75 pounds. And in 4 years, it's 100 pounds. So if you have 100 pounds to go, now believe me, you're not going to take 4 years to lose it. But you can see, even with that super slow progress, you're still going to reach a goal. And that's so much better than not going for it at all. Why wouldn't you want to lose 25 pounds a year rather than nothing? Or for most people, sliding backwards. And in terms of health, let's say you have an autoimmune disease. Well, what if you have rheumatoid arthritis and you have painful joints? Well, what if you could reduce that pain by 25% next month? And then after that, 45%, 65%. What if it just got 10% better per month? But you can't get those results if you're not even playing the game. So what I say is, if you can't win if you don't play the game. And I look at this, I look at life. It's such a simpler way. It's such a more fun way to look at life when you look at it as a game, that we're playing this game, that there is really no end in sight. I talked about that. There is no destination. Please go back to that show. So what we're doing then is we're constantly just teeter-tottering back and forth between highs and lows in our life, trying to have more highs than lows, trying to get out of our lows as fast as we can. But we're also trying to achieve goals. Just the act of achieving a goal, moving forward towards something, is going to make you happier. There's no doubt about that. There is no doubt about that. Go after goals that will eventually, what you feel, bring you some happiness, right? But just don't think that that's going to be the end all be all. And please do tune back to that previous mindset and motivation show. And I believe that was just last week, or it was episode 465. So check that out. StephenCabral.com, episode 465. Because here's the thing. If you're not going after goals, if you're not going after something that's bigger than yourself right now, you're going to look back a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, and you're going to have regrets. You're going to have regrets, not that you didn't achieve the goal. It's almost never the case. You're going to have regrets that you never went after it. That's what's worse. You're going to feel like you let yourself down. Now, if you went after it, and didn't achieve it, well, you can say, you know what? I did it. I did my best. I went after it, and you never completely fail. That's not that it's impossible. You can't completely fail because you learn so much along the way. And I'll tell you this, just from my own personal experience, and that I've seen hundreds of thousands of appointments in our clinic, is that you sometimes deviate from what you thought was your goal because you're finding out more information along the way. You're recalibrating and you're actually growing as a person. So what I want to say is this week right now, again, I've talked about this before. You're going to have your goals. You're going to think about your goals. Your goals are not for me to tell you what those are. Those are personal. Look towards your health. Look towards your relationships. Look towards your career. Look towards your body transformation. Look at all the things that you feel would give you more meaning, more happiness in your life. And then choose one. And what I want you to do is I would say, what's one action you can take this week? Just one. Because all I want you to do is get that ball rolling. I'm telling you, when you're on a hill, you can just push that ball and that ball is going to continue to move. That's what we need to do first, but you need to give it a little kick, a little push. And what do I want? Well, if you're not exercising right now, start to just walk. I want 10,000 steps per day. Everyone's smartphone pretty much tracks their steps now. You need to work on getting up to 10,000 steps per day. That's going to move your lymphatic system. That's going to oxygenate your tissues. It's going to keep your mind on being active. Then you're going to start to think about, well, if I'm being active, I'll probably want to improve my nutrition. Maybe I will start my day with a smoothie. Maybe I will add in a cup of wild blueberries or some raspberries, my favorite fruit. I'll add my all-in-one powder. I'll energize my body with that. I'll start to move from there. And then after that, maybe I'll add 2 days a week of exercise. Maybe a Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday. Maybe I'll exercise a little bit on the weekend. I'll be a little bit more active. And then from there, you say, okay, well, maybe my one thing is I'm exercising all right, so that's not my thing. Well, maybe you're going to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. 30 minutes earlier each night. Shoot that. Well, let's go for that goal right now. Shoot for that goal. 30 minutes earlier every night this week. You can wake up at the same time if you want, if you're not getting those 8 hours of sleep, or wake up 30 minutes earlier, go to bed 30 minutes earlier. What that's going to do is going to give you 30 minutes more in your day. The end of the night, it's kind of like wasted time. Get it to bed earlier. Wake up in the morning before the rest of the world places their demands on you. I did a previous show on this as well. One of the number one things I did in my life was to wake up before the rest of the world. I wake up earlier than most of the rest of the world. It's my time. It's my quiet time. I can get done what I need to get done for me. That's what moves me forward in my life, is having a little extra time to myself. I'm telling you right now, you start to chip away. Maybe the examples I gave you aren't right for you. Pick one move, one action, because right now I can tell you this, that you can't win. You can't win in your life. And again, everybody's wins are different. If you don't play the game, I want you to be in the game. I want you to start to make actions, play the game. Just set a goal, start to take just one action. Forget about the end goal, which is way too big, right? I mean, if it's a 30-pound weight loss, it's just too big to think about right now. Think about doing one thing, one action that will move you forward, that will create that domino effect. I'm telling you, if you do that, if you just even keep your mind focused on that positive outlook of what your goal is, and then try to match up some actions to achieve that goal, that alone, I'm telling you, that alone will energize you. Yes, it will. It will absolutely give you more energy. And it's going to create more happiness in your life, because you now have added more meaning to your life, because that meaning is now going to achieve a goal. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into another Cabral Concept. I really do appreciate you listening to these Mindset and Motivation Mondays. And as always, if this show could help out anyone else, please do feel free to forward along to them. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.